Hi, I'm Stephen Wells, and this is my informative speech. Today, I will be talking to you about the history of tattooing. Tattooing began over 5,000 years ago and is as diverse as the people who wear them. The first tattoos were created by wounding the skin with sharp objects and putting either soot, dirt, or ashes into the wound to make a permanent marking. The first tattoo was thought to be on accident by someone possibly touching an open wound with a dirty hand, which left a permanent mark. Although tattoos have become more popular through time, the practice has not left much of a historical record. In Egypt in 1891, archaeologists discovered the mummified remains of Amunet, a priestess of the goddess Hathor, who lived sometime between 2160 BC and 1994 BC. This mummy had several lines and dots tattooed on her body. The dots and dashes grouped together were aligned into abstract geometric patterns. This form of art was restricted to only females, and these women were usually associated with ritualistic practice. In Japan, the earliest evidence of tattooing was found in the form of clay figurines which had paintings or engravings on the faces to represent tattoos. These figurines date back to about 3000 BC or older. The first written record of tattooing is found in a Chinese dynastic history compiled from 297 AD. The Japanese were interested in the art because of its decorative attributes. The Horus, or the Japanese tattoo artists, were the undisputed masters because of the way they used color, perspective, and imaginative designs. This gave tattooing culture a whole new angle on tattooing. The classic Japanese tattoo is a full bodysuit typically. The Polynesian culture was a huge historical significance in tattooing. Their tattooing is considered the most intricate and skillful tattooing of the ancient times. Ancient Polynesians believed that their mana, or spiritual life force, was displayed through their tattoos. In Samoa, tattoos were applied by hand to define your rank or title, such as chiefs or their assistants, descending from notable families in the proper birth order. The tattooing ceremonies for young chiefs, usually done at the onset of puberty, were elaborate affairs and were an essential part of their rise to a leadership role. Their tattoos would forever celebrate their endurance and dedication to their cultural traditions. In 1787, some Frenchmen set foot on the island of Samoa, and when they got a good look at the natives, they reported, quote, "The men have their thighs painted or tattooed in such a way that one would think them clothed, although they were almost naked," end quote. The Hawaiians had a tattoo tradition which not only served them as decoration and distinction, but to protect their spiritual well-being and their health. Men had more natural forms of tattoos on their legs, arms, torso, and face. Women had them done on their hands, fingers, wrists, and sometimes on their tongues. The arrival of Western missionaries forced the tattoo art form into decline by, not surprisingly, the Christian churches throughout history. The Maori of New Zealand had created the most impressive culture in Polynesia. Their tattooing, called moko, showed their artistry. They used their wood carving skills to carve the skin. A full-face moko was a mark of distinction, and it showed their exploits in war or another major life event. Brennan, Indonesia is one of the few places in the world where traditional tribal tattooing is still practiced the way it has been done for thousands of years. The Brennan designs have gone all over the world and are what we still call today as tribal tattoos. The Greeks learned tattooing from the Persians. Their women were fascinated by the ideas of tattoos as exotic beauty marks. The Romans eventually learned tattooing from the Greeks. Writers in Rome reported that many slaves and criminals were tattooed. A legal inscription from the early Roman Empire says that all slaves exported to Asia were tattooed with the word tax paid on their body somewhere. Tattooing today. Today, tattooing is done by injecting ink into the skin with a needle attached to a handheld tool. The needle penetrates the skin into the second layer of skin about a millimeter deep. People get tattoos for all different types of reasons now, from something that might just look cool to memorial artwork for a family member or someone close to them that has passed.